That's right, MOBAPAD have finally unveiled the M12 and M12 Pro Joy-Con for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I'm going to hold my hands up straight away. They haven't released much about this, so I'm going to discuss what they have announced, and then I'm going to speculate based upon my in-depth knowledge of MOBAPAD and their previous, Joy-Cons for the Nintendo Switch to see what we can expect from them and go from there. So as MOBAPAD like to do, they're releasing two versions, which I do think is actually really good. But the price is so close, it's kind of just going to be like, just go for the better ones, But two versions is what they are going for. And we've got the M12 and the M12 Pro. Now, these vary just by literally $10. So the M12 are going to be $89.99 and the M12 Pro are going to be $99.99. And we know that the M6 HDs for the Switch 1 and the Switch OLED are the absolute kings of all Joy-Con alternatives because we've literally reviewed every single one available on the market over the past several years here on the channel, and these always came out as the top kings. So I've got big and high expectations for MOBAPAD with their Switch 2 models. But what we have right now is literally just attachments for the M6 HDs just here. So these little things just here, if you've already got some M6 HDs, I've not covered these on the channel, but I've had them for ages, are just like magnetic attachments so that you can still use them on your Nintendo Switch 2, right? Which is great. If you've already paid the money out, then you still get really good functionality from these, but it's just a bit big and unwieldy. So I've been really waiting on the Switch 2 versions from MOBAPAD. So other than the price, like I said, $90 or $100 basically between the non-Pro and the Pro, there is another feature that they have actually announced as well as the looks. And of course, before we dive into that feature, let's take a look at them. So I personally really dig this style. I like that they've gone black because with the M6 HDs, they just went white for a long time before they then brought the black colorway in, and then they brought in like a pink, like a pale pink. I legit kind of liked that. But straight away, they've just unveiled the black versions, and I'm a big fan. I'm well done, MOBAPAD, for coming out with black ones out of the gate, because that was everyone's biggest gripe with the previous versions for the Switch 1 and the Switch OLED. There is a little thing that I'm not overly keen on though. It looks like they've got RGB LED MOBAPAD logos on both sides. Now, one thing I absolutely loved about the M6 HDs for the old Switch was that there was no RGB LED, which meant that you weren't wasting power on lights. Now, no doubt you'll be able to turn them off on the new M12s, but still, I just kind of wish that wasn't there, but that's just me. Obviously, you should be able to turn them off, but we'll have to wait and see. It looks like we've got a mode button, as well as a cog button, as well as a home button on the right Joy-Con. And then on the left Joy-Con, it looks like we're missing the home button, obviously, and we're just left with the mode button and the cog button. And then, of course, we've got the standard face buttons, as well as the plus and minus, and a traditional looking D-pad. Now, they don't show the back of the Joy-Con, and let's speculate about that in a minute, but let's take a look at the actual spec. The one spec that they have announced, which I'm so happy to see, is the fact that these have TMR joysticks, and not just any TMR joysticks. These are the TMR glide sticks. So let's just talk about that before I talk about TMR sticks. So the glide sticks are effectively MOBAPAD's take on the official Pro controller. So this is the MOBAPAD Chitu 2, right? Their newly announced controller. We've done a video on the channel about this controller, so go check it out. But one thing that's really, really cool about this is the fact that they've put the glide sticks in there. So do you see around the actual module itself is like a piece of silicon? Can you see that? Like a bit of silicon all the way around. Now that is exactly what they did from Nintendo officially on the Pro 2 controller for the Switch 2. All that does is means that when this is at like maximum extension, instead of either hitting the actual module itself or scraping on the board or anything like that and making it rough, it is super smooth because this is now actually making contact with that bit of silicon, and it makes it super smooth. So like hyper smooth. I can't even like begin to explain how smooth that feels. And that was the first thing that we noticed with the Pro 2 controller that made it feel incredible. And they've done that with this, and this is by MOBAPAD, the Chitu 2, right? That is what they're calling the glide stick. So the M12 and the M12 Pro have this silicon thing. I know it sounds stupid, it's just a bit of silicon, but honestly, it makes so much difference. If you've got a Pro 2 controller, the official Nintendo Pro 2 controller for the Switch 2, you know what I'm talking about because those sticks are hyper smooth, but they've paired it with TMR sticks, which this has as well, right? And what TMR sticks are is better than Hall effect. So you've got potentiometer joysticks, right, which use friction to input the signal. Those are what can be subjected to drift over time because you're constantly getting friction. Any dirt or debris or anything like that can get in there and they just wear out over time. Hall effect are better than potentiometer stick. So Hall effect use magnets, but they can have a little bit of an accuracy issue. TMR joysticks take everything that are Hall effect and then make them so much better. TMR sticks are like Hall effect version 2. Just think of it like that, right? So they're higher accuracy. They've got like 8 to 10 times the resolution input that Hall effect have. What that means is a much greater area of sensing on your movement, right? So they are highly, highly, highly accurate, much lower dead zones as well. They don't drift. And a big one, it sounds stupid, but they are really low power consumption. So it takes a lot less power to power these joystick modules than traditional sticks, basically, or Hall effect. So they've chosen to put TMR sticks in not just the Pros, but also the base models. So both the M12 and the M12 Pro will have these TMR joysticks with the glide sticks with that little bit of silicon that I said makes a world of difference because it really, really does. So both models are getting that. So you're getting the best sticks that you can get right now in both models, regardless of which one you choose. Now, here's where I think the differences are going to go. And this is where the speculation comes in because I don't know this for certain. I'm just going off my history of testing basically every MOBAPAD accessory for the past several years now, right? So with the original M6 HDs, they did the M6 as well as the M6 HDs. Now the M6 were cheaper versions, the M6 HDs were more expensive versions, and the difference between those was different switches. So the M6 HDs use mechanical Omron switches within like the whole thing. Now, Omron is a brand, it's a brand of switch, right, that you get in mechanical gaming mice, and it basically has much longer lifespan. So if you think of a membrane like button where it feels like mushy and stuff like that, they have like maybe a 1 to 3 million click lifespan before they wear out. If you go up to like generic micro switches, you're looking at 5 million, and that's what the M6 had. The M6 HD with branded Omron switches went up to 10 million click lifespan. So a huge increase of longevity on the lifespan of the buttons. Now, micro switches are highly accurate, and I fully expect MOBAPAD to continue their journey with micro switches in the M12 and M12 HD, and I fully expect that the M12 HD will have Omron branded micro switches, and the M12, the cheaper ones, will just have generic switches. So you'll have a lifespan difference of like 2 times when you go up to the HDs. Again, pay the extra $10 and get the M12 HDs, right? That's not all though, because on these ones, the M6 HDs, these actually have HD rumble, whereas the M6, their cheaper little brother, just had standard rumble. Now that I think we'll see as well. I don't expect MOBAPAD to be able to put HD rumble 2 in these. I might be wrong. I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong. But looking at this, the Chitu 2, this controller, which is brand new for the Switch 2, still only uses HD Rumble 1 and not HD Rumble 2. So I expect that the M12 will have standard generic like rotary rumble, and the M12 HDs, or the Pros, sorry, the M12 Pros will have HD Rumble 1, not HD Rumble 2. Again, speculation. Now, I fully expect both of them to have back paddles as well, just like the M6. Now, whether or not they go with the 1-button design or whether they go for 2, I'm unsure, or they might go for another one up here. So they could go with 1 back paddle and then 1 extra bumper. I would prefer that personally because I like at least 1 back paddle, but I know a lot of people like 2 on per side. I think it would be better if they went with 1 and then 1 at the top, or just stuck with 1. Now, you know, we'll have to wait and see about that, but pretty much I think the only differences between the M12 and the M12 Pro is going to be the rumble discrepancy and the type of switches that they use within them. I don't think anything else will be different. I reckon they're still going to have turbo. I think they still have macro capabilities as well. I do expect them to have NFC because MOBAPAD are big NFC advocates. Everything they do basically has NFC support. So that's going to be wicked as well. And that's basically it. So I think the M12 Pros are going to be the ones to go for. They're going to be able to be, you know, magnetized on the side, and they're a lot cheaper already because they've already announced the price than the competitors out there, you know, that might have been, you know, releasing their other Joy-Cons. I mean, we did a video the other day about them. But basically, I am super hyped, like massively hyped, and I have very high expectations of the MOBAPAD M12 and the M12 Pro. I cannot wait to get my hands on them and test them for you guys. So if you want to see that, then subscribe, because we absolutely will get them, because, you know, I'm a big fan of MOBAPAD, always have been. We were actually, believe this or not, right, a little bit of MOBAPAD lore for you. We were the first westernized YouTube channel to get in contact with them and get them into like the Western market. They were only an Asian market product until we contacted them direct in China and said, hey, look, we've seen your stuff like on like Chinese boards and stuff, and we want to get hands on and show them to the Western world. So you can thank us here at 128KB for bringing them to your attention, because that was all us. And they even said to us, you are the first people out of Asia to come and contact us. So yeah, there we go. Bit of MOBAPAD lore for you there. But yeah, so I'm super hyped. Let's see how it goes. Let me know all your thoughts and comments down in the description, in the comments below. What do you want to see in the M12 and M12 Pro? Are you going to be paying the $10 more? I would say it would be worth it, because normally it's a bigger gap between like the non-pro and the pro. Anyway, I'm just rambling now because I'm excited and I want to get hands-on with them right now. But anyway, let me know all your thoughts down there. Like this video, subscribe, become a member, and you get to chat to us over on our private Discord. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.